Sister Emily, these are your sins. Ingestion of drugs, lying with a woman, not being baptized. Not being baptized? That's what makes you who you are. You shouldn't even be coming through those doors. Being a busybody, filthy conversation, vein jangling, drinking, eating blood. Do you think I've ever had to write down eating blood before? Where am I? Envy, fornication, homosexuality. That's the same as lying with a woman, but we do separate those. Lustfulness, reveling, mischief in your heart. Longest list of sins I've ever had to write. And most importantly, hosting the Swamp podcast. The Swamp is an acronym.
Stands for some whack-ass movie podcasting. I was like trying to go through my head. I'm like checking all my little boxes. I'm like, which ones actually apply to me? I'm like, oh yeah, most. Hold on.
Maybe not vein jangling.
I was gonna say, hold on, what's vein jangling?
I don't know for sure, but to me, it's like when she was running around naked with blood all over her. That seems like the definition
that definitely
of vein
applies
jangling.
to me.
But let's look it up.
I like that anytime we're hosting this, I'm always like, you can always hear my little click clacks on my keyboard because I will look things up in the middle of the show.
Okay, 17th century meant to talk excessively or noisily or squabbling.
That's exactly what we're doing right here, right now.
We are constantly vein it's V-A-I-N, like vein.
Yeah.
Vein jangling. I thought it was, like your veins.
Yeah.
Like you're jangling your open veins is what.
And running around naked in the forest with the witches.
That's what I thought. But if you didn't get my monologue, my Fred Armisen monologue that I've
beautifully delivered.
Thank you, here on this day. I wish I was in full priest getup, if we're being honest.
But we should start getting into costumes, I think.
I know.
Whenever we do this.
Last week with I, Tanya, I felt like I delivered one of the best episodes in a while just because of the mustache.
We were really in it, yeah.
If we were both in nun habits right now, I think it would bring a little extra zest, a little extra. But so we're talking about The Little Hours this week. 2017 movie. I could have sworn, gun to my head, I would have told you this is an A24 movie before doing my formal research and analysis of it for this podcast, and it is not. But
it feels like it should
fits.
Be. It definitely feels like it should be, especially like, not to say like A24 was like, or like 2017 was like the early days of A24, but it was like the same year like Lady Bird came out and all that stuff, you know what I mean? Which is like the things that like made it pop off a little more.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, it just like in the same, I don't know, like edgy kind of way that this movie, I mean, we can get into it, but it's very like, to me it's one note, but it works. And I think A24 does that sometimes with style choices, where they're like, the content of this movie, you can leave it or take it, but at least it's like nice to look at. And with this one, it's like the humor, you can kind of leave it or take it, but it's like the one joke of like, they're in the 13th century, but they're swearing. That's so funny. And it's like, it could work for you, it could not, but at least to me, they deliver like dialogue-wise. It's always entertaining and funny. So even when the bit is getting old, somebody will say something, and I'm like, oh, this is funny. Like, you got me.
I'll tell you who always like reeled me back in was Nick Offerman's character, which he had the best lines in the entire movie. One of you sluts thinks he's quite the jester. Like, just shit like that. And also, it's Nick Offerman.
When he's talking about his sister, when he's like, my 12-year-old sister was more developed of a woman than you are today. I feel like anytime we watch a movie that has a character with botched bangs, I write, this is what I look like when I cut my own bangs. And
would you say that's Nick Offerman in this, or Fred Armisen?
Nick Offerman, because they're looking a little rough. It's working for Fred Armisen. His are combed, they are straight, they are pristine, they're laid. Nick Offerman's, that wig is something. That's an animal that died on top of his head.
Shit is crusty.
But I think it's working for him. Like, dry. Yeah. Like, I feel like if I touched his hair, it would be crunchy.
It's absolutely fried.
But I feel like, if you placed my notes for every movie we've ever watched and you highlighted every time I mentioned cutting my own bangs, it would be, like, maybe most of the time.
But do we want to get into a little recap? I feel like there's not much that happens in this movie, but also at the same time, like, There is?
This is totally a dialogue movie. I have a playlist on Letterboxd that's just called dialogue movies, and it's like movies where, like I said before, like the plot you can kind of give it or take it, but it's like the way the characters are talking to each other is really propelling you as a watcher to like be invested in it. I feel that way kind of about Juno, Mean Girls, Heathers, you know, where it's like the way they're talking is not quite the way people talk to each other, and it's intentional and it's like funny. This one, I think it's mostly just because they're like 14th century nuns and they're like, fuck you! And it's really good. But yeah, plot wise, I guess we can get into. So there are these nuns at this monastery. It's 1347. It's a monastery of nuns, and I think just one. John C. Reilly seems to be the only man like living, or I guess they also have like farmers and gardeners, but he seems to be the only like clerical member who's a man. But it's all like nuns, basically. A nunnery? Is there a word for that?
Yeah, it's a nunnery.
Nunnery. It's a nunnery. And we get this kind of hard cut to like Aubrey Plaza and Kate Mucci just like swearing in nun outfits while like, you know, doing nunly tasks. So you really know right off the bat, you're like, oh, so this is like the kind of comedy that this is going to be. Then we get a little flash over to the kingdom or the king. I think it's implied that he's a king.
Yeah, he's a nobleman. He's a nobleman. Nick Offerman is just like a little like well-to-do.
Oh, okay. Yeah. He's a nobleman. Well, he lives in a fucking castle. And he is all up in his business about some war, and his wife literally does not give a fuck. And she's fucking one of the servants, who's Dave Franco, and they get caught. And so then Nick Offerman goes in and cuts his hair so that he knows which one it is in the morning, so he can like go find him. But then Dave Franco is like, I'm so clever, and he cuts everyone else's hair to match his little cowlick thing, and so that he's like, oh, which one is it? But then they get caught again because the wife is just on her shit, and she's like, we need to hump in public even though my husband's literally gonna murder you in cold blood. And so then he runs away, and he stumbles across John C. Reilly in the forest, who's drunk off of his ass on the sacramental wine, and he's like lost all these fabrics in a river, and he helps pick them up, and he's like, I like need to fucking get out of here. And he's like, well, if you pretend to be a deaf mute, you can come live back at the convent with me and like be like a handyman, like a gardener or whatever, but like you just can't talk to any of the sisters because they don't like it when men look at them or talk to them. So like you're gonna pretend to be a deaf mute, and that's gonna solve everyone's problems, because then also if they like catch word that there's this new deaf mute, like nobody's gonna suspect it's you, basically. And he's like, that sounds great. So they go back to the convent, and then basically it all turns into like all these nuns want to fuck Macedo the deaf mute. And they're like trying to fuck, and then they all also get drunk on the sacramental wine. They do some gay shit with each other. And Sister Fernanda, who's Aubrey Plaza, like has her friend who's a witch come in, and like they all do gay shit and they drink the wine. And then fucking Allison Bree's there doing embroidery, but she wants to leave, but her dad doesn't have enough money to let her leave. And then there's like they're doing sacramental or like sacrifices. They're like cutting themselves and like making potions. It's like so that they can fuck Dave Franco.
Yeah, like Aubrey Plaza's like got a whole witch plot going on like in the background sort of thing, which like you don't quite realize until like the third act. But she's like making like a potion to like, I don't know, see if like Dave Franco's like a
until she sucks
sacrifice.
His dick at knife point. And then she's like, he'll do, and he's gonna like be the human sacrifice for the witch ritual. And they still think he's like a deaf mute at this point. And then he goes and fucks Allison Brie, and he like gets nervous and says something, and she's like, you're not a deaf mute, I know it. And he's like, I guess I've been exposed. But then he gets kidnapped to do the witch ritual, and he's like, please don't kill me. And they're like, you're not a deaf mute. And then Sister Ginevra, who's Kate Mucci, she like doesn't really know what's going on.
She's on drugs. She's like tripping.
She takes the belladonna, and she's like tripping balls, and she's also like just being a snitch. Basically, everyone gets caught, and then they send fucking Macedo back to the kingdom, and Nick Offerman's like, I'm gonna fuck your shit up, and they put him in a cell. But then the nuns come and they rescue him, and everyone lives happily ever after. The end.
Yeah, no, the happy ending.
Kind of.
Yeah, no, the happy ending really threw me for a loop there.
Yeah, because John C. Reilly and the main nun have been hooking up the whole time.
Molly
so, like,
Shannon.
they're also sinners. They're sinners, and they get caught, but, like, they're just gonna go run away together, and all the nuns have gotten Dave Franco back, and I'm sure they're just all gonna go, like, do whatever the fuck they want. So yeah, very pleasant ending for, like, kind of an up and down movie that's mostly about, like, sexual assault and human sacrifice.
Yeah.
So, do you like this movie?
It's one of those, okay, so I think this is, like, the third time I've watched it, and it's one of those things, like, I think every time I like it a little less, almost.
I couldn't agree more. This is one of those ones where, like, Henry and I were like, oh, like, date night, let's just, like, go see whatever is playing next or whatever. So we just went and we, like, Googled the cast and we're like, oh, this is a great cast. I bet this will be funny. So we just, like, went knowing nothing about it. And I think I was so pleasantly surprised that, like, usually in those situations, the movies are, like, not, if you just see whatever's playing next, it's just, like, fine or whatever. But I was, like, so pleasantly surprised. I'm like, oh, this movie about, like, the 1300s and nuns is actually, like, fucking funny and interesting and not like anything I'd ever seen. I think comedy-wise, this definitely was doing something pretty unique. Yeah. At least, I don't know, in my experience, like, kind of that art house visual vibe where everything is, like, you know, beautiful indie film, but then also, like, aggressive swearing and, like, dirty humor.
Yeah. I just think blasphemy is really funny, if I'm being honest.
Yeah.
But anyways.
Oh, but so I remember really, really loving it. Like, I thought it was a 5-star film, like, one of the best I'd seen when I saw it. And every time since, I'm like, this is funny and holds up, but also, it's the one joke. It's the one played out joke. Yeah. And it gets a little old. And every time I watch it, I feel like it gets a little more rapey. I'm like, yeah. Like, I get that it's like, played for laughs, and it's ends up being resolved in a way that's not actually like that. But every time I watch, I'm like, ooh, this is a little icky at some points, huh? Like, this is not great. But so I think it's been, like, from a 5-star film down to, like, a 3.5 for me. I mean, we'll get to our official ratings later. But more. Yeah, I agree. Every time I watch it, I'm like, I like this, but I don't love it as much as I once, like, thought I did.
Yeah, that's for sure. And I feel like whenever I watch it, like, if I want it to be good, I need to be in, like, a certain, like, I don't know, like, conditions almost. It's like I need to have at least 2 glasses of wine in me. To, like,
yeah, right. I need to be in the mood where I want the silly little lesbian nuns.
Yeah,
like, I'm
exactly.
Just vibing with it.
But I watched this at 3:00 in the afternoon on a Monday. So
see, I did watch this with, like, a hearty amount of wine, and I was eating a roast chicken, so it, like, felt really right.
Still didn't hit for you.
It's a pretty short film as well.
Yeah, I was gonna say, of course, I'm gonna praise the fucking 90 minutes.
It's like a tight 90.
I'm like a fucking just on repeat every episode.
Yeah, right. Highlight for every time I talk about cutting my own bangs, but, like, double highlight for every time we say that we love the tight 90 film. Like, that's every single time.
Yeah, someone let us know if you ever make a drinking game to this, because that should definitely be...
Right. Originally, when we were, like, trying to plan this podcast and we're like, what should we do? And we came up with our little bits that we do at the end, like the fuck, marry, kill, and the whatever. At one point, I was suggesting that we come up with a whole drinking game for every movie we watch. And I'm like, it's impossible for me to be that creative every week and to not just regurgitate some shit I found online. You know what I mean? I'm like, oh, damn, if we could come up with a drinking game every week that would be so tight. But I just don't have the brain capacity. Yeah. Sorry. Me exposing myself for not putting effort in.
That'd be a lot. Jen already makes the chocolate and vanilla lists, which is as creative as we can get on here.
I was gonna say, Jen puts in more, like, research and development. Jen's R&D here. But I will say I did, for this movie, I was, like, kind of curious about, because at the beginning it says that it's based
the Decameron.
Like, an actual... Yeah, which I didn't really know what that was. I know it's kind of like the Canterbury Tales, which we had to read in high school. Yeah. And it's very similar to that as far as, like, 14th century text of, like, all these people gather around a fire and each person tells a different story for 10 nights or whatever, and they're all kind of, like, silly or tell a lesson. But, like, some of them are also really, like, dirty, and I guess that them basing this off of that, like, they didn't really have to change too much. Which I got all this from an article called or from a blog called A Historian Goes to the Movie by A.E. Larson. I don't know, I thought it was pretty interesting, and so I read through it about just, like, comparing the original text to what they did in this film. But I guess the Decameron's about the plague.
Oh.
And I'm like, oh, okay, topical, because COVID. But I guess in the original story, it was 2 stories. So I think there are 10 in the Decameron, and there are 2 that they really took for this one. And one of them was that the Macedo pretends to be a deaf mute and works as the gardener in the nunnery, and that they all start fucking him. But in the original story, he was just fucking all of them, including, like, the head bitch. He was just fucking everyone. And he was like, and eventually he's like, I'm so tired. And he was like, I am so tired of laying pipe all day that, like, you guys need to give me a schedule.
This man's burden.
Like, yeah. He's like, everyone's gonna need to, like, pick a day, right? And so then they, like, come up with this nice little schedule for him, and he fucks all the nuns, and, like, that's it. The end. And so that was one of the stories. And then I think the other one was the clergyman, the wife cheating, and then him cutting all the hair, and then the guy being smart enough to cut everyone's hair to match. All the stuff about witchcraft, not a thing. Not a part of it.
I didn't hate it, though.
But I liked it, especially, I think Aubrey Plaza plays that type of person, like, so well. Like, I've got a little something sinister going on. I have ulterior motives.
I think
she's, like, deadpan.
I think she just came out with, like, a children's storybook about a witch, too, or something like that.
I love that.
But, yeah, no. Every time I watch any, like, Aubrey Plaza movie, it feels like she just, like, showed up to set and just wings it. She's definitely one of those.
So for this one, she did. So the guy who wrote and directed it, basically, he took these 2 stories, and he created, like, a vague outline, right? He's like, plot points, whatever, and all of the dialogue in this movie is improvised.
Shut the fuck up.
They all just hung out. All these actors, who a lot of them have, like, crossover stuff they've done. Like, these are a lot of people who've worked together a lot in the past. And so they all just hung out in Italy for, like, a few months, and they just, like, fucked around and said whatever they wanted, and then they put together this movie, right? So basically everything is improvised. The only, like, major plot points were, like, kind of, you know, vaguely
Dave's laying, it was like, oh, Dave's in trouble. Dave's laying pipe. The nuns are swearing.
Yeah, Dave's gotta get his dick sucked at knife
witches.
point, like, type thing. Like, yeah, but I think all the dialogue, for the most part,
That's insane.
is totally improvised. Which I think makes a lot of sense when you watch it knowing that, because you're like, yeah, this is Aubrey Plaza just doing what she does best. And also, so I think everyone knows that Alison Brie and Dave Franco are married.
Yeah, which is really, now, like, with that bit of information, makes it a lot more interesting.
And, like, this movie is just, like, this is just a day in their marriage, I guess. Yeah. But they seem like a good couple. I don't really, I'm never one to, like, try to invest myself too much in celebrity couples, because it's like the ones you always think are good end up getting divorced or whatever. And, like, I don't know, from what people put out to the public, like, as far as, like, celebrity, you can never really know. But from what I've seen, they seem like a good couple. So I'd like to believe in my heart that they're both good people and a good couple. But what I didn't know is that the guy who wrote and directed this movie, Jeff Baena, I think. Yeah. Like, sometime last year, everyone was like, yeah, Aubrey Plaza just, like, married some random man. Isn't that crazy? This was him. What? This is the guy who wrote and directed this movie. They're married now. They got married last year.
They've definitely...
Isn't that crazy?
Well, they've definitely known each other for a long time, too, because I looked at his IMDb, of course, and she was in this movie, it was 2014, Life After Beth, which he directed as well, which was also pretty decent, but definitely, like, sort of in the same vein as this. And Molly Shannon was in. I think both Molly Shannon and what's his
Kate Mucci?
No.
John C. Reilly.
John C. Reilly were in it.
Yeah, this group of people seem to, like, if we did, like a spider chart, I'm sure that's not the real, if we, like, connected string to, like, everything, because I know John C. Reilly and Molly Shannon were also in, like, Never Been Kissed Together, and they played, like, there are just so many, like, crossovers. I think that this director just got together his besties and was like, let's, like, get funded to hang out in Italy and wear nun outfits and just, like, swear and be funny.
I wonder where Kate Mucci comes into this, because I know that you and I know her from...
Fuck me in the ass because I love Jesus.
Yeah. She had, like, this comedy, it was like a comedy duo of, like, her and this other woman who she definitely also has a career now.
Yeah, it was called Garfunkel and Oates.
Yes.
Which is really funny. And I think they were like peaking in sort of like alt comedy YouTube when we were in like middle school. So like definitely we were the target demo for all their videos.
Yeah,
and I definitely like I like LimeWired illegally downloaded like all their songs, or like YouTube to MP3 converted. Oh yeah, their videos. But so she started as that, and I've seen her be like side characters on a couple different TV shows. I know she does a ton of voice acting because she has like a very like unique voice. But yeah, I think she's fucking perfect for this.
Yeah.
She is that perfect, like, she's a snitch and she's neurotic, but also she's hilarious.
Yeah, just wants to
and you
fit
love
in.
her, but she's such a follower. But like so down to do the gay shit too.
Yeah. She's like, no, I think I really like sex with women. Actually, I've never told anyone that. No, I loved it. It felt like it came full circle with this movie, from the fuck me in the ass because I love Jesus to the little hours. I'm like, yeah, no. But no, you're right. She was perfect for this. 110%. I agree.
I also love at the end, they're like, she's a Jew, and like she gets exposed as like being Jewish. Jew! But I looked up, I thought Aubrey Plaza was Jewish, but she's not. But Alison Brie is also like fully Jewish. So I'm like, there's a lot of Jewish people in this movie for it to be like about Catholicism. And I don't know, I just thought it was so funny watching Alison Brie stand there and being like, you're Jewish. And I'm like, girl, so are you. Oh, so more on my research. So I didn't do, clearly, we never do a lot of research for this show. I think anyone who listening knows that at this point. But in addition to reading that one article that I read, I also went down a little bit of a wormhole, and I'm not going to be able to regurgitate much of it because honestly, it was a little bit over my head. But so there's that one scene, right, where Alison Brie's character, Sister Fernanda, she comes in and she's like, oh, I'm gonna like do my own laundry today. And because she's kind of like the rich bitch, she usually doesn't have to do any chores. And she's like, oh, like just tell me how to do it and I'll do my own laundry. And then they explained to her how they wash the robes, and they were like, you dip it in water and you wring it out, and then you dip it in ash, and then you let it sit for like 3 days, and then you whatever. And they were. And this, for some reason, like, triggered something within me. I'm like, what is soap? I don't know what soap is. Like, when was soap invented? What is it? And, like, when did, like, you know, because this was, like, laundry detergent. But I'm also thinking, like, did these women have shampoo? Because Aubrey Plaza's hair looks beautiful. When she takes her little habit off, it's, like, silky. Right? I'm like, okay, this, what is soap?
All right, Dara, tell us what soap is.
Well, I'm not going to do a very good job at that, but
as long as the people know.
Soap was invented in like 2300 BC, so like it is fully, soap exists at this time, but it's some sort of like fat. Yeah. Some like, it's like animal fat mixed with lye, which could be like ash. I was just like, why are they dipping their shit in ash if they're trying to get it clean? I don't understand the science behind what that is. But obviously modern soap is like all synthetic and chemical. But I'm like, do you ever think really hard about like, what is shampoo? I don't really know. Like, I don't really know what shampoo is, if we're being honest.
I use it very regularly, and I have no idea what's going on my body. Yeah.
Or, like, toothpaste. Honestly, because I know people brush their teeth with charcoal, right? So I'm like, that would make sense if the earliest form of, like, toothpaste was charcoal, and therefore earliest form of soap was some form of charcoal. But I'm like, what is toothpaste? Like, I can't think too hard about it because, like, then my brain is going to invert on itself. But I did read an article about what soap is, when it was originated. So this movie did make me do a bit of light reading. So I guess props to that. But yeah, I guess soap can just be if you mix like lye and animal fat and then rub it on something, it like gets the dirt out, and then you dip it in water, which like I'm okay. Yeah, I guess. Sense. I guess that makes sense. And then you can also put like scent in it, and then that can be like, you know, for your body or whatever. So soap did exist during this time, and this has been my really informal TED Talk.
I was gonna say, should we just start throwing fun facts into the podcast? Fun history facts?
Right, let me do my brief history on the history of soap. I think we would have to get a third, well, Jen's our third, so like a fourth regular host to do like a history segment, and we can't afford to pay anyone. But I was intrigued about, like, the timing of this movie and, like, what, you know, was feasible to exist. Because, honestly, I don't know anything. If you fully told me that soap was invented in 1840, I'd been like, yeah, sounds right.
All right.
But yeah, I guess it was, in this time, it was actually, like, not that unusual for the literature, like we were talking about the Decameron, like, of people to be, like, making fun of, like, oh, of course all the nuns fuck.
Yeah.
You know, like, of course there's stuff we don't know about happening in the monastery, which is, it seems so crass when you see it, and they're talking like how we talk. Yeah. And obviously if you read, like, the Canterbury Tales, or I'm sure the Decameron, it's all, like, written in that old English.
Yeah, it sounds like a riddle.
Type. Yeah. Answer my riddles 3, and maybe you'll get to fuck Macedo the deaf mute.
I'd give it my best go, because let me tell you something, Dave Franco's really hot in this movie.
Right, would you risk not getting into heaven to fuck Macedo the deaf mute? Because I might. If I'm Alison Brie, she's about to risk it all, and she's like, you know, she's one of the dutiful nuns, she's following the rules, and she breaks, and I'm like, I get it.
Yeah, no, I would say, I don't know, maybe. Counterpoint, though, is would you fuck Aubrey Plaza with a knife to your fucking throat?
Yes. Which is, like, watching this, I'm like, this does feel a little sexual assaulty, but I'm like, would I be into it? Yes. Does he seem into it? Also kind of yes.
Exactly.
So
this is a very horny movie.
Oh, it is, yeah. And everyone's
fucking
gay. Everyone's gay and everyone's fucking, but then
it's
also,
the ideal
like,
scenario.
The dark turn of, like, now we're gonna sacrifice him. I'm like, but you could just keep him. Like, I like the original story where they're like, we're gonna keep him around and we're gonna fuck him until he demands we put him on the payroll.
He was basically like a sex toy.
Which, for Dave Franco, love that for him.
Right? I like that his character is just a little slut in this. Like, okay.
I don't really know anything about Dave Franco as a person, but obviously I think we all know that James Franco fucking sucks. And this is me, like, deriving from whatever we're talking about right now. But there's this really great video that I saw go around on Twitter. It must be kind of old, but it was this round table talk of actors, and Tom Hanks is making this, like, really great point about, like, the way you treat people on set. Like, this is your job and you're at work. So it's like, you wouldn't, like, if you treated a female coworker, like, gross and sexually at an office job, you would get reported to HR, but, like, because we're actors, everyone thinks it's different or whatever. And he's just, like, I don't know, making this really great point about, you know, power imbalance and work, like, actors, you know, working environment and how that can be kind of conducive to, like, sexual assault or people being treated, you know, women being treated poorly. And fucking James Franco is there, and everyone's, like, nodding in agreement, and then the moderator's like, James, what do you think? And then just dead silence, because, like, obviously I feel like everyone knows that he's a fucking piece of shit. Yeah. And so I'll try to find it. I'll try to retweet it.
They set him up for
on
that
on our Twitter page. Oh, but I just, like, it lived in my mind rent-free for a few weeks. I was like, oh, Tom Hanks really did that, huh? He really was, like, looking at James Franco, being like, yeah, isn't it wrong to, like, take advantage of women when you're on a movie set? Buddy.
Yeah. Yeah, I feel like Dave Franco has stayed unproblematic, which I like. I like him and Alison Brie. They're, like, two of those actors that, like, I kind of, like, I don't know, I guess forget about until I see them, and I'm like, oh, you guys are, like, really good.
Until Dave Franco is in that fucking magician movie. What was that one? Now You See Me? And I'm like, oh, this makes sense for you.
That adds up. All right.
Also, Alison Brie in Glow. I haven't watched Glow, but I know every time that she was, like, nominated for awards for it and they showed a little clip of her wrestling, I was like, ooh, I feel some type of way about this.
Yeah.
Alison Brie in a little spandex whipping women to the ground of a wrestling mat.
Is this Awakening something?
I think I've expressed this on this show before. I love Community. I think it's the best, like, comedy sitcom, like, made ever, and she's so good in that. And that's the only reason why I know she's Jewish, is because her character in that is, like, very much Jewish, and it's expressed through, you know, many comedic bits. But she's so good, and I think she's very versatile, because, like, she's not particularly funny in this. I mean, she has her moments, but she's not one of the, like, standout comedy characters, and she's, like, fully a comedic actress. She's very funny in a lot of stuff.
For sure. I was gonna say, like, I feel like, like, no one, it's very much like an ensemble cast, because, like, no one, particularly stands out. Like, I guess, like, to me, like, the person that stands out the most is just Aubrey Plaza, or just because it's her. You know what I mean?
I think Aubrey, as far as the nuns, I think Aubrey Plaza's the standout. I would, like, give honorable mention to Kate Mucci just because that end scene where she's vein jangling, definitely, like, ropes everything in. But I would say out of the whole nunnery scenario, Aubrey Plaza's for sure. Just her deadpan delivery, so good. But I would say maybe out of the whole movie, it's Nick Offerman.
True, yeah.
So I think you get the come in at the last minute of Fred Armisen, and his character really does it, but like he's not there enough, I think, to be truly considered. But if I'm gonna like rank the performances in this movie, I think Nick Offerman might be number one.
I would say so. I like funny. That, like you said, he's literally just like in the first like maybe the first 20 minutes and the last 20 minutes, and that's it. But like I said, he's got the best fucking lines. They just make me crack up. But also, speaking of Fred Armisen, and maybe we've talked about this before, did you hear him and Natasha Lyonne broke up?
Yes.
Have we talked about this before
I don't know.
here?
Yeah, well, I think we talked about during the But I'm a Cheerleader episode, we talked a little bit about how it's kind of weird that they're dating because she's such like a prolific like lesbian character actress. Like she's basically gay in everything she's fucking in, and then everyone's like, that just doesn't make sense that you're not gay in real life, but then she's dating Fred Armisen, and everyone's like, well, okay, maybe. Like maybe, okay, then that might make sense. But I did see that they broke up, and I saw that she's with someone. I also didn't know that he was married to Kate Moss.
Right?
Elizabeth Moss. Elizabeth Moss. What?
Right? Mm-hmm.
That does not make sense to me because she's in Scientology and he's a funny little Portlandia man. But I guess I don't really know. Again, I don't know anything about like celebrity relationships or how to perceive them. But I love Natasha Lyonne and I really like Fred Armisen, so I hope they're both happy and doing their own thing separately. But their whole relationship was very much an enigma.
I loved it. That's why I liked it, because I was like, I don't understand, but I'm so here for it.
Oh, but this movie clocked me though, because I was sitting here, you know, having my little drink, watching this on, I don't know, some Tuesday afternoon, and they're talking about like Alison Brie doing embroidery. And her dad, she's like asking her dad about like this potential like marriage situation, but he obviously can't afford the dowry because like his business is failing or whatever. And he's like, well, some people have like romance and marriage and just some people have embroidery. And I'm sitting there with an embroidery hoop in my hands, like I was actively doing an embroidery project while watching this movie. And I'm like, oh, I really played myself here, didn't I? Like I should have seen this one coming, because I was just like, I can't help but feel roasted. All right, so we're here with my lovely mother, Jen, as always, for our little interim chocolate or vanilla segment. She hosts a game roughly halfway through our show. It's called Chocolate or Vanilla, and she just gives us two options, and we say which one we like better. It's pretty neat. Is there a theme this week?
There is. So because it's chaos, I'm going to be chaotic and give you the theme for Cat in the Hat instead of...
Oh! So for a little bit of reference, if you couldn't tell, me, Emily, and Joey were a little bit drunk. We were maybe a little bit inebriated, and Jen tried to like Zoom call us, and we could not figure out the technology to like mute somebody's headphones, so there was like just a continual feedback loop, and so we had to cut it from that episode. So I'm glad that you're bumping it over, because I've gotten a little, you've shown me a little bit of what was to come. You were like, oh, I'm so bummed because this one was so good, so I'm excited that we're doing it this week, and it does fit chaos. Who fucking cares? So
yeah, these are things that rhyme.
Ooh, okay.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
Dr. Seuss.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, we were talking about, okay, so if I'm going to try to, like, connect the dots here and make this work, we were talking about, like, Canterbury Tales, 14th century, like, literature, rhymey type schemes, maybe not a limerick. What's it called? Iambic pentameter, maybe a little bit. We're getting a little Old English rhymey, so I think you could maybe argue that this works for the little hours, I would say.
All right, we'll make it work. So chocolate or vanilla?
Chocolate.
Vanilla.
Chocolate. Okay. Bradley Cooper or the movie Looper?
I actually, just the other day, I added the movie Looper to my watch list because I've never seen it. And I think I always see, like, you know, best of, what's his name?
Joseph Gordon-Levitt?
Joseph Gordon-Levitt. It's always like best of Joseph Gordon-Levitt, and it's always Looper, and I've never seen it. It's like sci-fi and looks up my alley. So I just added it to my watch list, but I have to go with Bradley Cooper, I guess, because I have seen movies that he's in, and I have not seen Looper. So process of elimination.
Yeah, no, I really like Bradley Cooper's movies, and similarly to Dara, I have not seen Looper. But I always like his stuff. I always think he gives a pretty stellar performance, so I'll go for Bradley.
Yep, same thing. Bradley for the sweep. Survivor or MacGyver?
Oh my god, Survivor. I think I haven't expressed on this show enough of what the reality program Survivor means to me as an individual. When I was in like 3rd grade, I had a Survivor-themed birthday party where I split my friends up into tribes, and I fucking hid immunity idols like in my house, and we like did Survivor. I don't think we made it. I wanted to vote people out, and Jen was like, if you make 3rd grade girls vote each other out, that's gonna start some shit that you are not ready to clean up. And I was like, you're probably right.
Dara wore a blue buff every day to 3rd grade.
Yeah.
It came up during parent-teacher conference. That's all I'm gonna say.
But I still watch all of the new seasons to this day. I'm a Survivor stan, so if anybody are Survivor fans out there, please slide into our DMs. I would love to talk about it. I would audition to be on it if I knew how to swim. I can't really swim though, so I think that's like one of the most basic like boxes you have to check to be on Survivor. And I just don't have it, so...
Dara's like, I can make a fire with flint, but I can't swim.
Yeah, when you were over, like, the other week, we were
I
watching
put on Survivor.
Yeah, no. I'm also definitely gonna have to go for Survivor. I haven't stuck with it, but certainly as a child, I was very much a Survivor kid as well. Not a buff every day, all year, but... I was about it.
It was actually okay though, because some other kid in the class like wore the birthday crown that they gave to the birthday boy every single day. So I think
put me
Dara
in second
was,
place
like,
for most
silver
concerning.
medal. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, Survivor for the sweep for me too. Glass of wine or Chrissy Hind?
Glass of wine. I have one in my hand right now, so...
Yeah, no. Certainly glass of wine.
Yeah, me too.
Also,
but brass in pocket.
Who's Chrissy Hind?
Got brass in pocket? That one?
No idea.
I don't...
Yeah, very, very 80s. And then, okay, next one. Kanye West or lemon zest?
I'm just like, here's the thing. New Kanye, I don't know. I can't really comment. It seems a little messy. Old Kanye, so good. Some of the best rap, ever made to date. Graduation, so good. All of that. But what has had a bigger impact on my life? And it has to be lemon zest. Zest a little bit of a lemon into your fucking pasta sauce or into some... One of my biggest flaws as a person, which it doesn't seem like a flaw up front, but after it's happened 10 or 11 times, you start to realize that it is a big problem. It's that whenever I need like a little pick-me-up or like I've had a bad day and I need to give myself a little treat, I just make a baked ziti, regardless of the conditions of this house. And so I have not great days pretty frequently, so there's almost always a baked ziti fucking in my fridge, and it's the reason... It's just a problem, but a little lemon zest in the ricotta when you make a baked ziti as a baked ziti regular, I have to say, hot tip. So,
I feel like having a baked ziti, that's like if that's going to be one of your problems, that's a good problem to have.
No, but you think it seems good, but then after it's like the 50th time somebody's been baking a ziti, and you're like, you need to stop.
Is there any other?
I can't stop.
Maybe we should unpack this sometime. It's like there's so many other like iterations of like basically baked ziti, like lasagna's like pretty much the same thing, like stuffed shells, or even like manicotti. Yeah, exactly. But it's always baked ziti, huh?
It's always ziti. Well, it's because we always have some kind of loose pasta in the house. and sauce. And so if all you need for basic is just the pasta sauce and cheese, right?
But is it-
And if you have anything else, you can zest it up so it can be as good or bad of a baked ziti as your kitchen allows.
Is it always ziti that you have, though? Because can you even call it a baked ziti if it's not ziti?
Oh. It's rarely ever a ziti, actually. It's usually penne, rotini. It's just,
Yeah.
But in spirit, it's a baked
Okay.
ziti. It's a baked pasta dish with ricotta.
Okay.
I don't know.
No, I get the idea. I feel like we strayed so far from the actual.
Sorry. Anyways, lemon zest.
Yeah, I'm just gonna go for lemon zest because I'm really over Kanye's shit at the moment. It's getting really old. I don't like that he bought the house across the street from Kim Kardashian after they divorced. Feels like
That's
a lot.
kind of funny, though.
It is kind of funny.
Like, that sucks, but also that's kind of hilarious.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm over him. But
Yeah, same. I think
I'll never.
he's kind of an a-hole.
Yeah, I'll never be
Yeah.
over lemon zest. So
Same. Lemon zest for the sweep. Brie with fig jam or the 80s pop group Wham?
Brew with fig jam. No hate on Wham, but simply the joy in my life that brie cheese and fig jam has brought to me, insurmountable.
yeah, 110%. It's so easy too. Some brie and some fig jam. What else could I need?
I'm gonna go with Wham because all things 80s. Glee mashup or Wii Super Smash Brothers?
So I am a Super Smash stan, and I grew up on the Wii version, but I definitely am an Ultimate girl now. I love Henry and I play it on our Switch. I'm not gonna say every day, but like pretty close to it, to be honest. It's like one of the only collaborative games that I choose to participate in. But what was my other choice? Oh, Glee mashup.
Glee mashup.
There's something that the Glee mashup did for society that I think is so evil and wretched. The mashing together of songs, they just they planted that bug, and then every a cappella group in America thought it was their personal mission to put shit together that just does not belong. So out of pure spite, I have to say, we Super Smash Brothers.
See, you're so right about just the most putrid shit coming out of that Glee scenario.
The only mashup I will ever tolerate from Glee is the birthing screams of Quinn Fabray paired with Bohemian Rhapsody.
This comes up
That's
at
it.
least once a month. It's the funny
It's
thing.
the best.
That's not a mashup. It's only one song. You need two
No.
songs to
The
be a
birthing
mashup.
screams are song 2. It's a mashup.
It depends how you look at it, alright? We're framing it this way. Yeah, I don't know. Here's the tough thing is I have never been a Smash girl. I've never got it. I never really fucking played it. And now at this point, I feel like I'm too far behind to even try. So I guess just because of my past with Glee, I will say Glee. Sometimes I like that foul shit. You know what I mean? Do I want to pick it? No, but I'm gonna pick it.
I want to pick it because I love Glee mashups.
I will say one that other than the Quinn Fabray birthing, but one that stands out to me as kind of tolerable, that I do recall as being kind of a moment, was there was a Halloween episode where they were on the football field, and they did Heads Will Roll by the Yeah Yeah Yeahs mixed with Thriller by Michael
That was
Jackson,
really
and it
good.
it was the moment. I
you're
remember
right.
I had that on my little iPod Shuffle, and I was like, oh, this slaps. This slaps
That was
hard.
actually very
So
good.
There were a couple of times where we got it right, but for every 100 that they butchered, the one that they did good, it just wasn't worth it. Anyways.
Okay, bagel with lox or a Jack in the Box?
Well, this is a great rhyme, Jen, but simply a Jack in the Box has nothing to offer me, whereas a bagel with lox absolutely does.
Exactly.
Did you know about the cream cheese shortage?
I didn't know about it until you tweeted about it the other day.
Right now, there's a national cream cheese shortage.
Interesting.
It is true.
I bet
It is true.
And Philadelphia will rebate coupon you if you say that you're not making cheesecake on holidays or something. There's fully I go to Wegmans and there's no cream cheese and they have a little note that's sorry, cream cheese shortage.
And when you find it, you grab a few.
Yeah. Or no, it's like limit 2 per customer, like because of the issue. I don't know what causes it. Maybe like unions or something.
I'm gonna go.
Supply chain.
I'm gonna go ahead and say it's all the bitches on TikTok that figured out that crab rangoons are super easy to make at home. It's the same thing as like how you couldn't find feta for like a month because everyone was making the feta
stupid
pasta, and now everyone's making their own crab rangoons. That's my bet.
I will say, Henry has made homemade crab rangoons from me before, and he puts a little sriracha in there. So you do like the crab,
hot.
the scallion, and then the cream cheese. But then you add a little sriracha, like make it a little spicy in the wonton, and then you fry it.
Little bite.
Not to encourage the cream cheese shortage. Please be responsible with your cream cheese consumption at this time.
Yeah, no, I'm gonna have to agree with Dara here. Bagel and lox for sure.
Yeah, same thing. Bagel for the sweep. Tony Stark or Callista Flockhart?
Who's Callista Flockhart? Because I'm inclined to choose her.
She's like Ally McBeal. She's also on, she's the boss on Supergirl. She's married to Harrison Ford.
Oh, great.
Yeah.
I will choose, what's her name, Callista?
Yeah.
I will choose Callista Flockhart because being married to Harrison Ford, that is a fucking accomplishment and a feat within itself. And also, no love for Tony Stark in this house. Fuck that billionaire. Fucking doesn't pay his taxes ass. Fucking.
No, I totally agree with the stance that Dara's taken on this. Breaking down Harrison Ford doesn't seem like an easy task. She got that ring. Good for her.
Yeah, I'll go with Callista Flockhart. If Ally McBeal ever comes up, it was pretty groundbreaking. It was like a series about a law firm, and like the big deal was they have a no gender bathroom. So and then
this was a television program.
Yeah, and then they had a animated dancing baby when she was nervous that she would see. Yeah, so it was kind of it was like really whack.
All right.
Yeah. Okay. Boston cream pie or McDonald's French fry?
That's a good one.
I'm gonna say something maybe controversial on this show. Is that I think the McDonald's fries overrated. I think people, if you're gonna rank the big 3 chains, Wendy's, McDonald's, Burger King, as far as fry quality, everyone's always quick to jump and say that it's McDonald's. And to me, that is simply not the case. It's just not right. I love a shoestring, don't get me wrong, but they're too skinny in the way that the potato content is low, and whether you get them salted or not is like a huge toss-up, whereas Burger King is there every time. They're a little thicker, so even if they're not super fresh, they're still pretty good. They're nice and soft. I have to say, Burger King doesn't win in a lot of fields. I'm really passionate about fast food. I don't know if you can tell. The Burger King fry, everyone is like, oh, McDonald's fries are the best fries. They're simply not. The Burger King fry is better. Go get them and test them side by side. Tell me if I'm wrong. The Burger King fry is superior, and so I have to say Boston cream pie because Massachusetts pride.
That hurt me to hear. I'm not gonna lie to you.
Really? Are you a McDonald's fry girl?
I feel like so many people will be like, oh, my hangover food is like X, Y, or Z, and it's always like something that's like not like that bad or whatever. But I'll say it with my chest. Like, I want McDonald's whenever I'm hungover. That's the thing I know. I have tried and tested it with other things. I've gotten like Chipotle or like Boston Market or something like that. No, I know what I want now. I'm 22 years old. I figured it out. I want McDonald's when I'm hungover, and I want those fucking fries. It's just like a comfort food. Like, Jen, you said that, and now I'm sitting there, I'm like, what am I gonna do for dinner? Because I want those fries. I'm not
Get
like,
the extra large one. Yeah.
I'm not gonna like defend them and say they're the best. I don't think they're the best. I don't think Burger Kings are the best, but
Burger Kings are better than McDonald's. Burger King fries are fully better than McDonald's
I'd say
fries.
Wendy's is like the highest up if you're putting.
Wendy's fries are dog shit. What are you talking about? Wendy's fries are soggy. They are never fresh. They are never salted. Wendy's does a lot of things right, but I would dare order a baked potato before even considering fries.
I don't know how we've had such different experiences here. My other issue is that what else, okay, besides the fries at Burger King are there for me and that I want to order from Burger King? I don't want to, if I'm not ordering a burger, I'm not just going to go to Burger King to get just the fries.
I'd like to clear this up here and now. I'm a Taco Bell girl. Just to, like, get that out of the way. If we're, like, doing fast food rankings, there's no competition. But
obviously, if I haven't made my stance known, it's the McDonald's fry for me. Not a Boston cream pie.
All right, I am going to pick Boston cream pie because I would always pick a dessert over a french fry. Fruit Ninja or Trivial Pursuit winner?
Oh my god, Trivial Pursuit winner. Fruit Ninja was just like a quick app phase back in 2013, but winning Trivial Pursuit, my favorite thing in the world is knowing a thing of trivia in a moment when it means most. And I think this is purely genetic, Jen, because I think both you and Gary have this. And I have the, if I'm watching a movie and there's a fun fact I know that I can say in a moment to make me, not just because it makes me look smart that it feels good, but just I know a thing and I have to say it. I just have to say it. It's not always accepted. You know, people are always like, that's fucking annoying. You talk through movies. But I'm like, I have to tell you the facts that I know because I'm a trivia girl. I'm just a trivia girl. And you actually... So my dad proposed to Jen at the end of a game of Trivial Pursuit. So I'm literally I'm spawned from a trivial marriage. So it's just...
It is true.
It is fact.
True. I don't play Trivial Pursuit even close to often, and I want to be a trivia girl, and I'm jealous of you, which is the entire thing. Fruit Ninja does nothing for me. I just want to be a trivia girl, and I'm not. So I'm gonna choose it out of jealousy.
Well, I will definitely pick Trivial Pursuit too, and I think you can be a trivia girl. You probably are. You just haven't tried it enough. Okay. My favorite murder or BK Impossible Burger?
Oh my god, we were just talking about BK, but I will say that the Whopper is dog shit, and so is the Impossible Whopper. I commend them for being the first to do the whole Impossible Meat situation, but that's a whole can of worms I'm not trying to get into. And I tried it, and I was like, this is it tastes like a Whopper. It tastes exactly like a Whopper. That's great. But you know what a Whopper tastes like? Fucking dog shit. Fucking dog shit. So I'm like, okay, it doesn't matter. But my favorite murder, we don't often shout out other podcasts, and this podcast certainly does not need our endorsement. They have success tenfold to what we're able to provide them. But I think it's the one podcast that first got me in to podcast listening.
Yeah, me too.
And I do credit them a lot with my love for listening to podcasts. So my favorite murder really does hold a special place in my heart as introducing me to podcast love. And if that door hadn't been open, I don't think we would have ever started this show, maybe. So love my favorite murder. I think our listeners, if you don't listen, you would probably all really like it.
Yeah, I've given my stance on Burger King already enough today. So I'll go for my favorite murder.
Yeah, me too. MFM for the sweep, and mini shout out to Erin because she's the one who introduced us. Last one, strawberry shortcake or a migraine headache?
Oh my god, who the fuck would pick migraine headache, Jen?
I just thought it rhymed.
Yeah,
and honestly, when I was doing it, I wasn't thinking strawberry shortcake like the dessert. I was thinking strawberry shortcake
the person?
like the 1980s cartoon character.
So one time, I borrowed a DVD from a cousin of Strawberry Shortcake, and our house was being built. And so we visited the job site of which our house was being built. And for some reason, I was carrying this DVD around with me it was a prized possession. And I took a nail that I found on the job site and I shoved it under the Strawberry Shortcake and I scratched up the cover. And you were like, why the fuck did you do that? That doesn't belong to you. You borrowed that from someone. And now you, fucked up the cover. And I have this really vivid memory of being I have no reason to tell you.
I didn't speak to you like that when you were little.
No. Well, no. But in theory, you were hey,
why did you do this?
What? Yeah, why'd you fuck up the front of this DVD? And I just remember being I do not have the words to tell you why I did the thing that I did.
I totally don't remember this happening, but I'm sure it did.
So I had the strawberry shortcake DVD that I like just shoved a nail into and like just like was like digging up the plastic of the cover, and you were not happy with me, and you were like, Darrett, when you borrow something from people, you have to treat it with respect. And it just I don't know.
It was a big learning moment, obviously.
But obviously, I'm not gonna pick migraine headache.
Yeah, I'm gonna actually just pick strawberry shortcake, the dessert, not the person. I don't have any strong childhood memories that relate to her.
I'm gonna go strawberry shortcake, the person.
But anyways, thank you so much, Jen, for this lovely Cat in the Hat rhyming inspired turn Canterbury Tales limerick type chocolate or vanilla. As always, I'm gonna try to hold myself accountable on here and say that I'll post them on our Instagram. Honestly, it's a 50-50, but keep your eyes peeled. You can say which rhyming thing you like better. I thought this was a really fun theme this week, Jen, and you clearly put a lot of effort into making these rhymes. And Kanye West lemon zest, simply visionary.
All right, I love you guys. Have an awesome week.
Bye, Jen.
Love you too.
And talk to you later.
All right, that was like me sharing too much personal information during chocolate or vanilla.
What? Never you. No, that's never happened before.
No, who, me? Oversharing on the pod, who, me? Yeah, do we want to get into our regularly?
Let's just get into it. I feel like I've hit everything that I've wanted to hit so far on this movie, but I have a lot to say about our segments.
Okay, do we want to start with food and drink?
Yes, because
we never have a consistent what order we do, but I think
it happens when it happens.
It's food and drink today, and we talked about this a little bit beforehand, and I did mention earlier I ate a roast chicken, and I feel like it's right, but I honestly feel like I've recommended like a roast bird a couple of times now, so we're gonna leave that in the past. Let the past be the past.
Here's my thing is I mean, we were talking about this before, and I told you I was like, my recommendation for food is a rotisserie chicken. I think, okay, let me set this.
But like from the supermarket and eat it with your hands.
Exactly. Here's the thing. I have to set the scene. All right. There's a specific way I think you should watch this movie, and I think you should watch this movie with your girls. All right. You need to be there's a scene in this movie where they're all drinking wine, and all of the nuns
and fucking.
This is right before the fucking though. Which, that's optional for you and your girls. I don't know. Do whatever you please. But it's the part where they're all drunk, hanging out, and it's all the nuns, all like the three little nuns in there, all start like singing and harmonizing sort of thing. You need to be.
Oh my god! I love this scene because Sister Ginevra, Kate Mucci, is like, I'm not gonna drink. Like, it's not. And then she takes a few sips, and then it hard cuts to them being like, and they're singing. Like, that's so me. So I'm like, I'm not gonna get too drunk. Like, I'm just like casual, whatever. And then me, 3.5 bottles of wine later, harmonizing with the girls. Yeah. Yes.
Exactly. So you need to be there. I think the way that you get there, is you have a. I don't know, you could not be like me, but I like a little craft. I like a little task. And I think you should all make your own sangria together. You make sangria with the girls. Someone goes to Big Y, buys the 2 rotisserie chickens. You sit down and you eat it with your hands, and you're just drinking your sangria. That's the ideal situation.
Feral. Go feral on a fucking rotisserie chicken. My answers are not quite grounded in as much truth as yours. For some reason,
I just had a vision.
Pomegranate martini was coming to mind for me. It feels a little fruity. It feels a little gay for some reason. But also like it's
movie?
Kind of red, and like blood certainly is there's a whole put blood on your cheek to make men think you're hot, story arc here. Yeah. So I think
we've
for
all
some
been
reason
there.
pomegranate martini is kind of sticking out to me. And then I think the most basic answer obviously is red wine. We have all these great shots with the John C. Reilly priest character having these like late night red wine sessions with Dave Franco, and they just like drink a whole bottle. And I don't know, rip some wine during this movie. It just feels right. And then, like I was saying to Emily before, like it just like a roast bird feels good. I think I've suggested it too many times for it to be like, acceptable, but a roast, like fucking chicken or something. Just, dig into a roast bird with your hands. I don't know. It just feels right for this movie. Or, again, we're such charcuterie bitches, but, like, a rustic charcuterie board, like, rip into, like, a baguette with your hands, like, just fucking break apart a baguette and smear some soft cheese on there and eat it. That also feels right for this movie. And then, so for Fuck, Marry, Kill, do we want to do the 3 main nuns?
Obviously.
Yeah, so Sister Ginevra, Sister Alessandra, Sister Fernanda, meaning Kate Mucci, Alison Brie, and Aubrey Plaza.
Yeah. This feels really easy for me. Definitely gonna fuck Alison Brie because I don't think I could be in a room with her under any other circumstances. Her character is very unlikable. However, Sister Ginevra, Kate Mucci, is even more unlikable in this. It's one of those things, like, I would trip with her, I guess. But even then, I don't know. So I'm gonna have to kill her, and obviously I would marry Sister Fernanda, Aubrey Plaza, and join her coven. I would love to start a coven with her. It's not start a family, it's start a coven.
No, you're so right for that. And I guess just to diverge from your obvious answer that makes so much sense, I'm gonna just fuck Sister Fernanda. Like, it just makes sense. The scenes in which Aubrey Plaza is... She's just hot. It's nice. Yeah. I would be there for it. Like, if she pulled a knife on me, like, I'd be okay with it, kind of situation.
Not your favorite.
But, like...
You're like, okay, like, yeah. You're like, we can do it once because I know you're into it, but, like, I'm deeply uncomfortable.
Or, like, I didn't know I was into it until right now, like, kind of situation. So I'm definitely...
You're like, oh, this unlocked part of my brain.
Right, I'm gonna fuck Sister Fernanda. I think I'm gonna marry Alison Brie because although, like, she seems, you know, she's kind of vanilla, she's kind of just doing whatever... We've got some insinuation that, like, maybe there's a dowry happening here, and she seems nice enough, so if, like, I can start a nice, like, little life with her in the countryside, if her father can pay for her to be, like, put up at this, in the nicest room at this nunnery, like, he can pay for us to have a nice little cottage on the countryside, like, neither of us have to work, we can just, like, I don't know, hang out with our pigs and cows or something, it could be nice, and then I'll still kill Kate Mucci because we don't fuck with snitches in this house.
No.
But then, so what do you think of the whole movie? Because this is just opening up a world of possibilities.
I'm gonna, none of these nuns are in my whole movie one. I thought about marrying Aubrey, but I'm gonna have to put a lid on that because I'm gonna marry, the head nun Molly Shannon. I don't know her name, in the film, but...
Head nun.
Yeah, head nun. She seems sweet and sensible, and just, I think we'd really get along. I think we'd build a lovely life together. I'm gonna fuck Marta, though, who's Aubrey Plaza's witch friend. She's just hot.
Hot, gay, here for a good time. Like, yes.
Yeah. I don't fuck with, like, the witch thing that much, but, like...
I could. I could.
Yeah, for her. And I'm gonna actually end up... This is a tough thing, because she is a MILF, and I would smash, but I'm actually gonna kill Francesca, who is Nick Offerman's wife in this, just because I think it's fucked up and really selfish what she did to Dave Franco, and I don't fuck with that. She put his life in danger, just because she wanted a little sex. Go find it somewhere else.
I think you're so right for that, and for that reason, I will be fucking her. We know from Dave Franco's confessional, what is it called? Confession?
Yeah.
When you go to confession?
Yeah.
That she's here for some freaky shit.
She is horny.
And I just think that she's the sensible and safe option, honestly, to fuck in this scenario. She's down.
Safe?
She's down.
Yeah, she's down.
It's gonna be interesting. It's gonna be thrills, fun, a good time. I don't know.
Yeah, are you willing to put your life in danger, though?
Maybe.
With Nick off... That's fair.
And honestly, I think that's part of the fun.
She could be worth it.
That's part of the fun. I want Nick Offerman to want to hunt me after, and I'm like, this is part of it. I can see your point there. Right, so I think I'm definitely gonna fuck. What did you say her name was? Francesca.
I'm
gonna fuck Francesca. No,
She was funny too.
no question.
I bet. Yeah,
Good personality
I bet
too. Like,
good personality. You can have fun with that sex. You know what I mean?
and then I'm gonna marry maybe John C. Reilly. I want to be the Molly
He seems
Shannon.
sweet.
I want to be the Molly Shannon here. I want to run away with like the disgraced priest and start a life in the countryside where we just like drink wine and fucking hang out. Like that seems great to me. Whatever their post movie experience is, sounds awesome.
Very Fleabag of you.
Yeah, right. Tracing me back to my roots. And then I'm gonna kill the fucking guards who did not help Dave Franco in that moment, who were distracted by the turtle with the candle. That he's like, be a homie, let me go. And they were like, absolutely not. And like, I get being scared of Nick Offerman, because like, honestly, fair, but like, you know, they were part of the problem. So I don't know if I can kill 2 people, but I'll at least just kill one of them, you know. Ease the situation.
Okay. And do you have a pick for your follow-up movie? Because I have a very strong one. I've got one that I really sticking with.
You go first, because I have a loose handful.
Okay. I feel like it's either like we're like, oh, we've like whittled it down to like one really good one, or it's like, here, there's like 6 you could choose from here. But mine, so I was thinking, I was like, the only other movie that like I really know with like that's fun with nuns is the Sister Act, and I've already thrown it out there so many times, and you don't even follow it up with anything, just watch the Sister Act.
Yeah, I think we covered Sister Act, and I recommended this movie for Sister Act, and it only makes sense to intern, you know, whether you do it this first, I love to make playlists on Letterboxd that only have like 2 or 3 movies, just like most niche, like people playing twins of themselves, or like weird, but this is like Undercover at the Convent. 2 movies. Yeah. It's just 2 movies. It's this and Sister Act.
It's perfect. But so for mine, I was like, okay, I can't take the nun angle for this. So what angle am I going to take? And I said, okay, witches. There's enough witch movies out there, and I think the witch plot line in this is the back plot. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I was like, okay, what's something with the front plot, and what's one that's just fun to watch? It's not asking a lot of your attention, sort of like this movie. So I'm going to tell you to watch Kiki's Delivery Service.
Ooh, I love that movie. I recently have been wanting to put that on because I own 2 black cats, and so I wanted them to have like some positive representation in film, you know, because we don't watch a lot of movies that have black cats in them, and I just want my cats to feel seen. So recently I've been like, Henry, we should watch Kiki's. Like, it could be good.
Should validate them.
It could be good for our cats. That's one of my favorite movies, though. I remember watching that. My mom had it on, like, I don't want to say VHS tape, but like maybe VHS, definitely DVD, like when I was really little growing up, but like very vividly as the first Hayao Miyazaki film I ever saw and like recognized as being like a very special art style type of film watching. Big fan all around. But so I'm gonna say for this, obviously other than Sister Act, because it just makes sense, Ingrid Goes West. If you're gonna do an Aubrey Plaza thing, she also plays like kind of an unhinged, but like maybe even more so character. It's also available on Hulu, and at least in my experience, it's the thing that Hulu recommends you, like, up next, watch type thing at the end of this. And it's a great movie, in my opinion. She gives a great performance, plays also kind of like a chaotic, unhinged character. It's really funny. So just, if you're in an Aubrey Plaza kind of mood, definitely watch Ingrid Goes West. But also, I'm going to use this platform that I've given myself on this podcast right here and now to talk about the best movie I have seen in the past 365 days.
Oh, you were very excited about this.
Pig, starring Nicolas Cage. Also available on Hulu. So just once you finish watching The Little Hours, which is currently available on Hulu, X out of, the little screen and go type PIG in the fucking search bar and watch that movie, because truly, I have not felt this passionate about a movie in like a hot minute. Truly the best thing I've seen in a really long time. I can't recommend it enough. Only for the reason that it's just on the same streaming platform and that I liked it. It's like, here, it's not particularly long. I don't think it's longer than 2 hours. And I just can't say enough good things about it. I'm not gonna like spoil anything, but just Nick Cage gives the acting performance, I'm not gonna say of a lifetime, because he like always kind of brings it in that weird Nick Cage way that he does, but great performances, great story, sort of the like Taken / John Wick revenge story about a truffle pig that you didn't know you needed. I don't know, but honestly, I watched it the other night. Like, I think I watched it 3 days ago, and I can't stop thinking about it. And every person who likes movies that I know, I've texted, and I'm like, go watch Pig on Hulu. Like, please, go do it. So, yeah, just elevating my platform on this podcast to recommend movies that I like to people who listen. I loved Pig. I'm here to say it. Cementing my
I can't wait to watch.
I don't like really hyping it up. I don't know. I really haven't liked a movie. You know, when you watch a movie and you're like, oh, this is why I love, like, watching movies. It's so good. That's how I felt the whole time. Also, Alex Wolff is in it. If you need another booster, yeah, Naked Brothers Band.
Also, like, Hereditary.
Also Hereditary type of, but he's in it and he's great too. As far as new shit, if you want to watch some new stuff. And then what do we have left? What do you rate this out of 10? I'm gonna give it a 6.5.
Oh shit! I was gonna give it a 6.5.
Yeah, like I said, I think like because on Letterboxd you do out of 5, and I think I originally gave this 5 stars, and every time I've watched it, I like bumped it down. But so like I think 3.5 is, or like 3 is the standard. So yeah, I agree. The 6.5 feels right. And so this was chaotic month choice. I think this is kind of a chaotic movie. And thank you for sticking around. Next week, we're going to have some guests, actually, from the Australian podcast 3 Tickets 2. We're really excited to have them. We were on their show a couple weeks back, so if you want to go check it out, I'll link it in the bio. And we talked about the Tom Holland SpiderMan movies, kind of in lead up to the newest one that just got released. So it was a lot of fun, and they're super awesome, and their show's really cool. And if you like our show, you'll probably like their show, because we talk about a lot of the same like pop culture movie type stuff. But they're going to be on our show next week, so keep your eye out for that. We're really excited to have them as guests. And as always, all of our links to our merch and social media are in the bio below. And thank you all so much for listening. This has been chaotic little hours nunnery. And I'm not gonna quite leave you off with the monologue that I entered you with, but all I have to say is that I can't believe you met a deaf mute on your trip.